This version of It's Eric Nagel has been modified from its original broadcast. Content has been edited to fit this platform.
A message for the ladies and gentlemen around the world and all the ships at sea.
We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us.
So choose wisely. Subscribe to It's Eric Nagel wherever shows are found, on whatever platform you choose. And as always, leave us a positive review. Would you kindly?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
It's Eric Nagel. And it starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
Eric Nagel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special Thanksgiving edition of It's Eric Nagel, and that is myself. We are sans Giddles today, but we are with Zia. She is over there. Hi, Zia.
Hello.
And also joining us is our longtime pal and special guest, Mr. Brian Shea of Game Informer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Everybody's about to get their teeth kicked in across the country as we go into Thanksgiving. The news has been going nuts for a week about 3 storms coming up all over the United States. It's going to be a perfect storm where everyone's going to be screwed trying to go see their loved ones and their families. And it's like, oh, great. Let's start that a week out when people had these flights booked for months and cause a panic. And like, well, we're not going anywhere. On the East Coast, this is great because we're representing 3 parts of the country here. So for me here in the New York City area, it's supposed to get such high winds and rains that they're looking that they may even have to postpone the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Whoa.
Because if the wind is over a certain amount and the gusts are over a certain amount, they can't they said it's a law, which I don't know.
Yeah, the floats will just crash into the buildings.
Yeah, but I don't know where a law came into place. Like, when did this happen that a law had to be put on the books and say, look, these people need to be regulated. These balloon handlers are out of control.
Well, ever since the great incident of 1972.
I was gonna say it was when Underdog got away.
Could be that.
Remember that episode of Friends?
I do remember that. Then there was one year that SpongeBob or Scooby-Doo, somebody hit a light post and ripped right open and just collapsed in the street, which is hilarious. But that's not enough to justify a law, but apparently there's a law on these books. So if it's over a certain amount, that they're not going to let the balloons go. One of the workarounds they were saying is, what if we have it pretty much brushing against the street where people are just dragging the balloon, which is hilarious. Because I was like, do we want to see it postponed, or do we want to see these people? Look, New York City is a grid, right? Unlike a lot of other cities that are kind of laid out, New York City is in a very tight area, but for the most part of the city, it's a grid, up, down, left, right, squares, right?
Konami code.
Which, yes, 30 lives, 30 balloons. See if you can make it through Thanksgiving. It builds a huge wind tunnel the way this thing is, right? So you're coming down the main part, one of the main thoroughfares of New York City. The wind's going crazy, and you're trying to drag a gigantic balloon down Fifth Avenue just because Macy's needs to have this television broadcast go out because that kicks off a lot of their sales for the holiday. That'll be funny because if the wind gusts get really bad where they go up and under and the balloons start taking off and people are caught on cables and... It could be hilarious. Postpone the Westminster Dog Show at the end. We need to stay with this as long as it possibly goes. Yeah. So that's what's happening on the East Coast. Out where Mr. Shea is in the Midwest, you're getting pummeled by snow.
Yeah, starting tonight in a couple hours here. I think they just upped it to about a foot of snow. So that'll be a fun Thanksgiving activity for me.
Is it like that every year around Thanksgiving time is when it starts to snow, or has it already been snowing?
It has not. We've gotten a couple dustings to this point, but it's primarily like Thanksgiving and after. I would say that most of our snow really comes like January to April.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it really beats a man down. It really drives a man to his last single piece of nerve and really gets him to where no man should go.
Brian launches his
two late April blizzards in a row now, like last year and the year before, to where it's like, all right, cool, I think we're out of the woods, and then we get hit with like an 18-inch snowstorm at like April 24th.
No. No.
It's horrible.
Brian,
I hear the pain in your voice.
Brian, he's outside. All this is happening. He hucks his snow shovel like a javelin and says, "Screw this! I'm going in and drinking." And then that's what he does. He goes in and
it's
then
happened
takes
more than a couple times.
He goes in, belts a few back, and then takes very posh selfies of himself and posts on his Instagram.
What else should I do?
You got to do it in front of a green screen with like some really cool like Aloha print shirt on and just pretend like you're on the islands. If you stare at the picture long enough, you can believe
Paradise
it.
is a mindset.
Exactly.
Especially when you're drinking.
Yes.
So all the snow is going to happen in the Midwest of the country, which, if for those who may not know, when it comes to a lot of traveling cross country in the United States, Chicago is a very important hub. Chicago is pretty much the lifeline. If you're flying up and down the coast, Chicago doesn't matter, but all coastal travel, Chicago somehow has a hand in it. So if Chicago gets closed down because of the snow, whatever, nobody else is going anywhere. Like none of the flights are going to happen if you're going cross country. So this could be a disaster of that proportion. Now over in the West Coast in LA where Zia is, you got this storm coming in that's supposed to be like torrential rain and downpour and numbers that they haven't seen in a long time, going up and down the whole coast of California and then going into Arizona, New Mexico. All the desert areas are supposed to get rain too. Like it's really, look, I don't know what to think about climate change, but you look at this and go, this is kind of a movie that's happening around. All these things are happening that shouldn't be happening right now.
I'm excited about the rain. Look, I'm a bitch ass. I'm so fucking cold right now, you guys. I'm sitting here with a blanket on me. And at work, I wear two. I have a sweater, and then I have another sweater that I wear over my sweater. And everybody's like, it's not cold. Why are you cold? I'm from Hawaii. I'm fucking from a tropical island. Of course I'm cold. Why would I not be?
So you know how I don't know if you have an iPhone, but I'm sure it's the same on Android. If you have the weather app, you can save certain locations.
Yep, I'm doing it right now.
So I have like Minneapolis and Baltimore, like around where my family's from, and just a few other places like LA where I travel pretty frequently. I also have Antarctica saved just because when the winter rolls around in Minneapolis, I like to compare how much colder we are than Antarctica. I know it's summer for Antarctica when it's winter in Minnesota, but still, we are frequently colder than Antarctica in the winter. So, Zia, you're welcome to come and visit whenever you want, as long as it's between November and March.
Who has the frozenest
That sounds
tundra?
terrible.
Yeah, when you go to visit Brian, you have to wear those tennis rackets as snowshoes, and wear various pelts of previous animals.
If someone told me that's what I had to do, my idiot self would. I'd be like, really? Okay. Is that what we do here? The snow weather? It's cold.
People are out. Yeah, people in where Brian is, they're all just hanging around the airport. Like, look, there's another one. It's like when you look at Port Authority in New York City and you see all the out-of-towners coming in and like, oh, look at this one. They have hope and prospect in their eyes. They think they're going to make it.
That's kind of what it's like here.
Yeah, out in LA right now, it is 62 degrees. You should not be freezing.
I'm cold.
See, we just never get hope and prospect in our eyes out in Minnesota because we know. I actually heard there's a museum here where they chronicle like the founding of like Minnesota as a state and like how the settlers came out to Minnesota. And apparently, I haven't seen it myself, but my coworker was telling me that like there are like these letters that they were writing back home that were like, oh, we found this paradise. The Lord has blessed us with plentiful harvest and beautiful weather. We may stay here for the rest of our lives. And then like 4 months later, when winter rolls around, the letters take a very dark turn. It's like, our God has forsaken us.
We have sinned.
People start dying.
Yeah.
That's great.
What are we doing for Thanksgiving? What are you guys up to?
I'm doing a Friendsgiving. I'm heading to a friend's house out here in Minnesota because my family's in Maryland. I'm going home for Christmas.
Right.
But I'm staying right here for Thanksgiving.
Not bad. It's great. You don't have to travel. And, you may have to shovel, but other than that, that's a minor inconvenience.
Zia,
what are you doing?
I'm gonna get fat. That's all.
Hell yeah.
To me, Thanksgiving is just pie day. I just love the Thanksgiving food's fine. I'm just going to hang out with my husband at home and make food for the two of us. And I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to see anyone. I don't have to talk to anyone. I'm really excited about it. But to me, Thanksgiving food is fine. I like the turkey and the stuffing and the potatoes. Like, those are all good things. But really, I'm there for the pie. I'm making 2 pies. 2 whole pies for 2 people. I'm really pumped.
Well, you can send me any leftovers because I consider myself a bit of a pie enthusiast.
See, now you got to come out so you can try my apple pie. I do a cinnamon roll crust and a streusel topping.
Ooh.
It's really good.
So you're combining like American apple pie with the French kind.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice, very nice. See, I'm with you, Brian, about being a pie aficionado. I know people love cake. I am not a cake fan. I would
love cake as well.
I would go for pie anytime.
I think cake is more consistent in terms of quality. I think pie has greater highs and greater lows, though.
Right, but when you hit the high, you hit the high on a
Think
good
of it
pie.
like a burger versus pizza. Pizza is usually pretty good, but like a really good burger and a really bad burger definitely exist.
That's true, but there's something to be said for bad. Like, you can, at certain places, you can totally get a shitty burger, but there's something about even just a McDonald's burger that's just so good. Just so good.
It's the it's so weird. It's the junk food of junk food.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, because you're out on the West Coast. Your junk food version is probably In-N-Out, which, for the East Coast people and Midwest people, you go out there, you do it once because it's just something you do.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at better burger places, I mean, out there you got like Whataburger, which is great, and
Brian, one of the best.
Brian, were you from Texas or you just lived in Texas?
I lived in Texas for a few years.
When I first met Brian, he was living out in Austin, and very jealous of his Whataburger availabilities out there. On the West Coast, it always has better fast food than the East Coast does. Just
and you got
by
Jack
the
in the
chains.
Box, you got Whataburger, In-N-Out, and now they have Shake Shack as well.
Yep,
I went to
and
a Shake Shack when I was downtown LA.
Oh yeah, Shake Shack is good.
It's
Steak and
very
Shake is okay.
I like Steak and Shake.
Not a big fan of Steak and Shake. I've actually never
I like
been
their
to a
shakes
Steak
better than
and
their
Shake.
steak.
Yeah.
Nice.
But if you go to Shake Shack, their chicken sandwich is awesome.
Underrated.
Really?
Awesome.
Huh.
So back in
chicken
the
bites as well, which I highly recommend.
Chicken bites?
Yeah, like almost like Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. They're super good.
Right.
I like them better than Chick-fil-A's.
Shit.
Back during my during the satellite days on Roland's Food Court, when I was doing that show for Roland, he had the guy who created Shake Shack on him. The name's escaping me. And he brought in a whole bunch of food to talk about how they were testing out this new chicken sandwich, and it was only in one of their Brooklyn locations. And he brought it in. It's a, fried up chicken breast in some kind of buttermilk ranch, and we all just took a bite, and there was silence. You sit there like nobody was going, oh my god, nobody was fawning over it. They just were like, and kind of just trying to put into perspective what we just went through with this thing. And it was fantastic. And then I think within the year they started to roll it out into the other restaurants they had open, and then they've been expanding like crazy in the last.
They really
2 years.
have.
Yeah.
There's 2 locations by me.
Ooh.
It's a little pricey, but I mean, it's
worth it.
It is worth it. I was gonna say it's a little pricey. Like Five Guys is a little actually, Five Guys is really expensive for no reason. But with Shake Shack, it is worth it. If you're looking for something you want to go to every day for lunch, that might not be the place. That's the place you treat yourself to once in a while.
Yeah, it's like a twice a month kind of thing for me.
Crinkle cut fries, which awesome.
Hell yeah.
Because not a lot of places have that. But the chicken sandwich could definitely recommend. Anyway, West Coast fast food is far superior to East Coast fast food. So they get everything out there. And then it's fun to watch when the East Coast properties come to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, we were seeing them all fawn over Dunkin' Donuts opening out up there. And I was like, really? Dunkin' Donuts?
I grew up with that, and it was nothing.
Yeah.
There's one right down the street from my house I grew up in.
That's what you guys all said. The first time I had Dunkin' Donuts was actually in Connecticut, because that's where my stepmom was from, and they took us back one year. And I just thought it was the most amazing thing in the world, because we don't really there's one place in Hawaii, at least when I was growing up, that had donuts, and it was called Lanky's Pastries. And they just had like a couple donuts, but I've never been to a place that had like donuts. It's just not like.
You got to go to, if you're ever in Austin, there's actually a place called Donut Taco Palace.
Do they have donuts and tacos?
They have donuts and tacos, and they have donut tacos.
What the fuck's a donut taco? Please tell me more.
So think about it. Like it's a taco, but donut.
I want it.
Yeah.
Do they put stuff
You should
in
have
it?
it. It's terrific.
You should have
They have
it.
breakfast tacos, which are amazing. It's a thing that has not completely caught on for the rest of the country, but is huge in Texas. Breakfast tacos, I highly recommend.
I'm
Is
in.
it just like a breakfast burrito?
Basically, I mean, just think of it as like a taco, but like, there's usually like meat,
Eggs?
meat, cheese, egg, and salsa. And yeah,
That does sound delicious.
it's super good. And since they're tacos instead of burritos, you can eat like 3 of them and not feel awful.
Yeah, because they're small. They're tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get one with chorizo, you get one with like
God.
with chicken, you get one with like beans. It's terrific.
Oh my God. I love how this entire conversation has just turned very quickly to different kinds. We went from Thanksgiving to like all the other kinds of food, breakfast tacos and fast food and donuts.
So what? It's
the natural
amazing.
progression of things.
Well, out by you too, you also have Voodoo Donuts, which is it's a big, I think it started in Portland or something like that, which just became that they made wild and
Excuse me.
exotic stuff. And then it kind of is just like, all right, whatever. You've made a Prince donut or something that's trending with whatever topics that are going on in the United States right now. You came out with a donut based on whatever. It's all gimmick, really. I mean, they're
They have
decent
Glam Doll,
donuts.
which is
Yeah.
the same thing.
The what?
Glam Doll is the local donut place we have. It kicks ass. It's super super good. Like they have like all those like, all right, this is like a maple syrup donut and there's bacon in the middle of it. Like it's stuff like that, but like they make real good stuff.
You have Krispy Kreme out there too, right?
I haven't seen a Krispy Kreme in Minnesota. I know they do have them in LA, right?
Yeah, we do. There's one in Santa Monica. I still haven't been to the Krispy Kreme. There's this place right next to, like, near where I live that's really good. They have, like, they do a version of the cronut, but they'll cover it with, like, chocolate sauce and Oreos.
God, the cronut craze.
Yeah, they are pretty good, though. Like, if
That
you
was-
get a good one, they're pretty tasty.
That was another one Roland was on top of. We had the chef who created the cronut in downtown Manhattan. Came in plenty of times. He brought us the cronuts. He brought celebrity cronuts too. I forgot who we had on, and there were celebrities that were coming in that never tried the cronut. So the guy brought cronuts in before it got super
I remember
huge.
that.
And then he came back in again, and he made, he had this like vanilla flavored milk, right? And he made chocolate cookie shots.
Oh, fuck.
So
Oh man.
it was fresh made chocolate chip cookies, soft chocolate chip cookies, molded into a shot glass, and he'd fill it with the vanilla milk, and that was your dessert. So you drink
Holy
the milk
shit.
from it would sit in the cookie for a little bit. You drink it, then you eat the cookie because it's all soggy with the milk. Now I want one. Now I'm thinking
You're
about
hurting
it.
me on the inside. Oh, my God.
But the reason why I asked about Krispy Kreme is because in New York City they're opening up an official Krispy Kreme, and the corner that they bought is down the block from where I used to work at Sirius XM. So it's on 48th and 7th. It'll be. It's going to be the world's largest Krispy Kreme. Now,
Wow.
I'm thinking about it. Why? There's no need for it, and you're going to spend an insane amount of money on rent. And it's like 2 or 3 stories, this thing. So you get to go, the main store is on the right when you walk in on the corner there to go in. Then you have the glass, like in some Krispy Kremes, where you can watch the donuts being made. But this is like 2 or 3 stories. So you get to go and watch the whole mechanism thing. They're going to have a shop in there where you can buy merchandise, all this stuff. It's like, if Dunkin' Donuts did this, everybody would be going, there's a Dunkin' Donuts on every other block. Why would you bother with this?
Yeah.
But because it's Krispy Kreme, this has got to be, I guess it's the same as, putting on a pedestal that the fact that Dunkin' Donuts got such a big pop when it moved out to the West Coast. Everyone's like, this is amazing. It's like, no, it's just because you didn't have it here. That's why you're freaking out about it.
That seems like a weird place for it too. I've been to the Sirius XM building a couple of times, and it doesn't seem like the right spot for a giant, like kind of like gimmick operation like that.
Dude,
That seems more
4,500
like-
square feet, Times Square location. Yeah, it's
I
on
don't know.
48th Street and Broadway. Sorry, not on 7th, on Broadway. 48th and Broadway. opening in early 2020.
I guess it's close enough. Yeah, it's close enough to all the touristy stuff. So
Yeah, they're probably banking on tourists going there.
Of course they are. That's why everything opens in Times Square, because they think they're going to make money. But you go to these ones, other than buying the exclusive shirt or labeling on the package that says Times Square, New York, there's really not. You're being grossly overcharged for something that you could just buy online. You know, there's not really offering exclusive products that are only available in that store.
The only thing that I liked about Times Square was the M&M store,
which was also right behind us.
Yeah, I don't think I bought anything. I just went.
I like walking through Times Square at like 4 a.m. when it's completely empty. That's the only time I really like Times Square.
Are there people shooting up in the streets, or is that just gone?
I think that's pretty much gone. They're not in the streets. They're more in the alleys.
All right, cool. I took a walk the other day. On my break at work, I went out back behind it, and there was 2 dudes shooting up, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice."
Well, that's L.A.
Yeah.
New York's heading there. Our current mayor sucks and not really taking care of the homeless problem that's happening. Although, where our studio currently is in Manhattan is right near Macy's, where they're doing the Thanksgiving Day parade. And as of Monday, they had a lot of 34th Street kind of barricaded. And they had certain areas blocked off at night as they're trying to prep everything. They're building a stage out front of Macy's and where the balloons are going to come down and where the performances happen. All this stuff's coming together. And for as lenient as the cops were told to be with the homeless over the last couple of years from Bill de Blasio, this year they're just like, up now, poking them with sticks. Get up, leave. No,
poking them with sticks?
Oh, I saw them. They had something they were poking them, like, get up. You know,
wow.
Get up. So these guys are getting up complaining, like, where am I supposed to go? And then one guy said, not here. It was coming out of Penn. I was like, all right, this is the New York I remember.
I mean, I feel like they sort of do that here a little bit, because you'll see these huge encampments. Like when I drive home, there's under this bridge, there's just tents and trash that was piling up and old bikes and all kinds of shit. And every once in a while, it'll be cleared out, like they tell them to move. But literally the next day they're back. Because where the fuck are they going to go?
Right.
You know? It's like they're not going to magically find a home. They're just going to go somewhere else.
Do you remember the days where you'd hear stories? I never knew if they were true or if they were just rumors, where you would hear about them loading homeless people, like cities were loading homeless people up on buses and then sending them down to California or to Florida.
Yep.
Just to get them out of the city.
I honestly think that a little bit of that is true, because did you ever watch that documentary on Netflix about the Rajneesh, that fucking crazy Wild Wild Country, I think is what it was called?
No.
Oh my God, it was fucking nuts. But anyway, they bust a bunch of homeless people in to that little community that they were trying to sort of take over so that they could vote, and they got all these homeless people there and literally sent them all there on a bus and had them living in tents and these big, like, what are those things called? Yurt type things. And they just had a shit ton of homeless people. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did that. Because what else are you going to do with them? Forget trying to help with treatment.
Anytime I've gone down near Tampa, they're all over, like Tampa, St. Pete, that area on the west coast of Florida. Because the weather's so nice, they sleep on the beach. Like the guy, the patrol comes through and they drive through, like, get off the beach. You're not supposed to be on the beach at night. But then they go away and the homeless go right back on there and they're sleeping. Right. I mean, why not? The weather's nice. Well, this took a weird turn. We don't need to talk about homeless anymore.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so let's be thankful that that's horrible to say too. So let's be thankful we're not in those positions. Moving on. Now I'm thinking about, like, West Coast. Like, I want Del Taco.
Del Taco's okay. I think I like Taco Bell better.
I like Taco Bell better too, man. But every time we go out there, the group, In-N-Out Burger, and then if there's a Del Taco, we got to go to Del Taco. I stopped going to Del Taco because I found a Jack in the Box. I said, nope, going to Jack in the Box.
I fucking love Jack in the Box because they have jalapeno poppers and they have mozzarella sticks. They're so good.
I get their chicken sandwich and I'll get tacos with it.
You want a good fast food taco chain? If you're ever in Austin, I don't know if it's in the rest of Texas, but try Taco Cabana.
Taco Cabana. All right.
Yeah. Trust me.
Let's write this down. I do trust you. Brian and I have bonded over our love for food and how we manage to what's the word I'm looking for? Rationalize like ways to eat bad food, and we're like, oh, it's fine because of this. You know, I don't know, it works out today. It's good. And
See, I don't
how
rationalize.
do it every
I
day.
just do it, and that's probably my problem. I should rationalize.
But I think that, I mean, yeah, I guess, but I think that also when you try to stay in shape and like try to keep yourself from eating too much, it almost makes you want it more. Like you wonder why I'm weird and sexual about food, because I don't eat it as much as I like should let myself. So when I do, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
So since I have time off, I'm going to take a photo of an Italian sub from one of my places, and I'm just going to taunt you with it as I send it to you. And I'll go, look what you don't have.
See, this is the other thing. I also ask you to send me food pictures.
Yeah, she's
I'm always
weird like that too.
Hey, pics.
Because she'll send me a message for something, and I'm like, oh, yeah, good show, thanks. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just going to make dinner. What are you having? I'm just going to get the diner. Send me photos. Okay. And I go, look, there's a turkey club. There's mozzarella sticks. There's whatever, disco fries.
That's my form of porn.
Yeah, it's a weird friendship, but it works.
I like it.
It works every now and then. I just got to
you
keep her
guys.
appeased by sending her photos of food. And I go, oh, have you seen this? No. Can you send me that? And I'm like, no.
You did send me some donuts.
I did. But
The ants got in them.
Yeah, so we talked about apple cider donuts on a show, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, there's, you're never going to get like the fresh made apple cider donuts like from Amish country or farms stands or things like that living in LA. But I said, Entenmann's makes a decent apple cider donut. Do they have that in your area? And she said they don't sell them there. Okay.
What?
So
Not that I've seen.
got a box, sent it out there for her and her husband to try. Then I didn't hear for a couple of days. I said, did you try them? What happened? No, I have ants. What? What happened?
It's in the box.
Tell her.
I put the box on the, and I know that I have ants, so I'm usually pretty careful with all my food. I put everything in Ziploc bags, and I have Tupperware to put stuff in. I can't keep stuff out. Like I've got ants gotten in my cereal before, so I put everything away. But this box of donuts wasn't open yet, so I put it on the counter, and I was like, "Cool, it's not." I didn't think about it because I hadn't opened it, and somehow those motherfuckers still got in there. I saw an ant crawling on the
they're
outside.
tiny. I don't know if you've seen them.
God damn it. There was an ant on the outside of the box crawling through there, and I picked up the box and I opened it, and I was like, this motherfucker, covered. Because I was thinking if there's just going to be a couple, I was going to eat them anyway. But there were so many.
Brush them off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, still good.
5
Yeah.
ant rule.
Yeah, I've eaten bugs
Kiss it up to
before.
God.
It's not that crazy. It's whatever. I think I don't know if this stat is true. When you're sleeping, you eat. Oh, God damn it, E-Rock. Why are you doing this to me? There they are. Look at those.
The Entenmann's apple cider donuts.
Yeah.
Look at them.
The holy grail.
They're so pretty.
Ant free.
Ant free.
Well,
Anyway,
that
you're
can
right.
be fixed.
Ants are fucking tiny. God damn it.
I just love the idea of her shaking the donut off and going, and then flicking them off and it's like, good enough. There's only one. I'll just chance it.
I have absolutely done that before.
As you should.
I am not above it.
I am not
So-
above it.
We've all been at rock bottom before. It's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for understanding, Brian.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, everybody's going to do their own thing for Thanksgiving. I got family on Thursday and I got family on Friday, one of which I'm cooking. And now this is a rule that I've set into place over the last several years because Thursday, going to family to do Thanksgiving, I don't leave with any leftovers because I kind of want stuff. It's one of the perks of if you're housing Thanksgiving at your place is that whatever's left over, you got a meal for tomorrow. You could make sandwiches, whatever you want to do. If you can really stretch it, you got it through the weekend. Well, when you go to family, it's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff left over because for some reason they only eat I'm not saying be gluttonous, but they'll have a plate, a little bit of something, and then they're done, right? And I said, wow, man, I wish I had that kind of self-control because I got stuffing. I got what I think is green beans in casserole form. I've got turkey and all this fun stuff. And then arguing over the cranberries because they got the canned stuff. They got the fresh made stuff. I said yes to both. I'm not picky. And so you'd think all this stuff's left over, and then you go to leave, and there's no, like, they took all the bags because everybody is like, oh, I don't have to cook. I'll just take, and they start scooping their own leftovers because I never think to do that. And they take everything home. So what I've been doing the last several years is that I also have a Thanksgiving on Friday, so that I see other side of the family that I didn't see on Thursday. So when they come over, I'm cooking all this stuff, and I got enough stuff for the weekend.
You
Nice.
maniac.
I am a maniac. I make nice turkey sandwiches.
Dude, post-Thanksgiving turkey sandwiches are the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they go on for way too long.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a week and a half in, you're like, God, I just want to be done with turkey.
No, I'm done by Sunday.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, I don't. If however you're stretching it out, I'm just saying for me, whether I have it or not, it's like there's only so long you can keep turkey in a Ziploc bag or a container. Then you go, yeah, I'm not going to really chance it after day 3.
That's true.
It's poultry. It doesn't really hold like meat does. But yeah, depending on what you do. Do you do the sandwich? I do everything on rye bread. So if you do the turkey, sometimes you do it with stuffing and the cranberry, a little gravy, or I do that's one of them. The other one is turkey. Now this can be controversial because some people like other brands higher than others, but I use Hellmann's mayonnaise.
Okay.
Right.
I'm with you.
My parents, for some reason, use Kraft, which is okay. It's not the best, but they use Kraft for
Kraft?
I know, right? It's Kraft. But the only other acceptable substitute is people that say they like Duke's mayonnaise. Because Duke's mayonnaise.
What the hell is Duke's mayonnaise?
I've never had Duke's.
I have to send more care packages out. This is all I'm doing for my friends here because every time they don't know, it's like I need to send them these things. So
like I grew up on the East Coast, and I don't know Duke's.
Duke's mayonnaise is I don't know. It's just a different experience. Like Hellmann's will always be my number 1 seed, but for a lot of people, especially chefs, when they cook, love Duke's mayonnaise. So I will get some of those and send them out to you. I'll send you a care package, Brian, too. You're going through things. You could use some TLC.
You're going things.
Yeah, that's true.
I will save you the mayonnaise thing, though.
Dear Brian, get fat.
hate
Love
mayonnaise.
Eric.
Yeah. Here's some mayonnaise and some donuts. Go nuts.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what it is. It's apple cider donuts and a jar of Duke's mayonnaise.
Don't send me mayonnaise.
No, post it on
You don't
Instagram.
like mayonnaise, Zia?
I hate it. I hate mayonnaise.
Zia, we were getting
sorry.
along so well.
I know. I'm so sorry. I did not grow up eating mayonnaise, and then I tried it and I was like, I don't like this stuff. This is not my favorite.
She's a Dole Whip girl.
What the hell is Oh yeah, Dole Whip. Yeah.
I am right at home when I go to Europe because they love dipping their French fries in mayonnaise, and that is like my go-to.
Brian,
Not just dipping them in
ranch dressing. Those are my 2 go-to dips.
Not
for
just
French.
dipping them in mayonnaise because I'm 100% with you.
Mothering them.
Oh,
But do you also do the malt vinegar on them?
Oh, I'm down for that.
Because if you go over to England, right, and you go into a pub that does a traditional fish and chips kind of thing where they serve
I went
it.
to so many like 2 weeks ago.
The good ones
Too
are the
many.
ones that still do it in a newspaper where they just drop this crumpled up newspaper and you got to peel it open and all your food is there, right? The malt vinegar that you use for the fish and chips. Do it on the fries, let it soak a little bit, some salt, dip it in the mayonnaise. Fantastic.
When I was in Cologne, Germany, in August,
Don't shake your head, Zia. You don't know.
they had currywurst. Have you ever had currywurst before?
Not a curry fan.
What's currywurst?
It's like a bratwurst, but in like a curry sauce.
Oh.
And then they would put French fries in it as well. And then they would ask you what type of condiment you wanted on top of that. And I would get mayonnaise, and the mayonnaise flavor would mix with like kind of like the curry flavor to create just this unbelievable combination. I ate it like 3 times in the first 2 days I was out there, and I was so sick of currywurst by like day 3.
See, I would try that.
Good.
I've never had that,
It's
never
so
heard
good.
of that combination. I would definitely try that.
Dude, it's
Minus
so
the
good.
mayonnaise, I'm in. The rest of it sounds amazing.
Zia,
you've never disappointed me this way before.
we're going to have to sit you down.
Over.
We're going to have to sit you down and just have you try it.
Clockwork Orange style with your mouth open instead of the eyes peeled open, and you're just
Eyes are going like,
Mouth open, mayonnaise dumped in.
mayonnaise dumped in. No, French fries with mayonnaise. Come on, We're not barbarians.
She's got it. She's in the chair. She's got the thing holding her mouth up. Her eyes are wide just by her own accord because she doesn't know what's happening. And Brian's sneaking up really, really slow, and he goes, "Here comes the plane."
Why do I have to be creepy about it?
Because that's how the story goes.
Because it started creepy. That would actually be a great short movie, like skit. Turn it into a super creepy short skit. Yeah,
and then different trailers for different regions. Like the international trailer goes, "Here comes the choo-choo." It's the same scene. He's just saying different lines. Come on, there's fun in that. Brian, I love you even more that you're a big Mayo fan. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's good to have an ally out there. But anyway,
mix the mayonnaise and the ketchup. That's also a winning combination under certain circumstances.
And God bless the fine folks at Wendy's for always doing that since the beginning of their tenure of being a burger establishment.
I'm okay with mayonnaise if you mix it with things where it disguises it a lot.
Bandwagoner.
I don't mind aioli so much. Like I can handle those.
Aioli can be too much at times, like truffle mayo and stuff. Every time they try to gourmet it up,
truffle is a little much for me.
Every time they try to gourmet it up, like now the other thing too is because avocado's so hot, they have the avocado mayo or the avocado green goddess dressing and all that stuff. It's okay, just don't force it into it. If it works for a certain dish, that's fine, but don't put it on everything just because everybody's into it at that moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like chipotle aiolis or like a garlic aioli is cool. Stuff like that I'm okay with.
I'll finish the sandwich and then we're going to move on to why Brian Shea's here. So the other sandwich outside of the traditional Thanksgiving sandwich is the white turkey, salt, pepper with mayo, and then I slice very thin sour garlic pickles on there on the rye bread. And that's it. It's delicious. No cheese, no lettuce, tomato, no nothing. Just bare bones. Fantastic.
It sounds good.
Interesting.
Something for you to try this weekend, Brian, since you've got the time.
I'm not a big pickle proponent. However...
Really? Damn it, Brian!
I may try that. Pickles are good in very, very specific situations.
Why am I friends with either of you?
A Cuban sandwich, a pickle is just the bee's knees.
That's a different pickle, though. That's a sweet pickle that they put on there.
Yeah.
I hate
it's the only kind for me.
Oh,
really?
God damn it.
Sweet pickles are fine.
I thought we got along so well.
Look, man.
Now I'm finding out all these new things about you.
I'm super garlic sour pickles I like. Kosher can be, like a regular dill pickle can be hit or miss depending on who's making the pickle. Sometimes it could be very bland. Other times it could just be, it's like, well, you're this far into it, you might as well just go sour and dump it into those barrels. Half and halves are just, I don't know. I think they're just to cleanse the palate at Jewish delis because they give you sour, they give you half and half, they give you sometimes it's beets, sometimes it's coleslaw. Like they give you those as the sides. Half and half pickles, not really for me. Bread and butter pickles, only because my grandmother loved those. I know a lot of people don't like bread and butter pickles, but I don't mind them. They're pretty good. Not so good on a sandwich because it kind of makes it kind of tastes too sweet for when you're having a sandwich. You want to go salty and you want to go sour when you're doing all that. Anyway, that's enough for that because I'm starving and I'm sure everybody else is listening. If they're listening on their way going to Thanksgiving, they're starving by hearing this. Or if they already had food, they're like, shut the F up because we are just
they really don't want to hear about food now.
Or if you're out on Black Friday, you're doing your shopping, which we're going to get to in a second, and you're hearing this. Now they're looking around and goes, what does this damn food court have in here? I don't see anything from what they're describing. Or they're heading over to the supermarket to see if they have Duke's Mayo because they're going to try that as well. Duke should be paying me for that. But anyway, moving on. Why Brian Shea is here. So every time we have Brian Shea on the program, it's because we're going to talk video games. And we're going into the holiday season. Black Friday is here. And again, whether it's you're listening to us going out the next day to Black Friday sales, or if you're out listening to this as you're trying to avoid people and get your holiday shopping done, chances are that yourself or someone in your family or your kids or somebody's kids is going to be wanting and playing video games. So that's why Brian's here. He is the expert. He is the senior editor for what? Is it senior digital editor?
Digital editor, Game Informer.
Game Informer magazine and their website components. I have some of your magazines over here. One of them, by the way, recently, Brian was the cover story. Or Brian wrote the cover story.
I was not the cover story. I wrote the cover story, but the cover story was Pokemon Sword and Shield. It would be really awkward if I was the cover story.
It would. It's just one of his
What?
many
You don't wanna be
selfie
the cover
photos,
story?
just right there on the front. It says Game Informer.
It's just
wow,
me.
this is really taking a turn.
Yeah, we would really have to be struggling in order to put me on the cover.
I had it here somewhere. I
Put
can't
you on the
find it.
cover. People need to know who creates these things, who writes these articles. People want to know, Brian. People want to know who you are.
No, they don't. They want to see the cool video game footage and the artwork that they have made for every the cover art that they make for every issue.
Yeah, so we just had Pokemon Sword and Shield about 2 months ago. This past month, we had 4 different covers, actually. We had a trio of Blizzard games, and then we had one that was... So we had Overwatch 2, Diablo 4, and the World of Warcraft expansion. And then we had one with all of the characters from all of the Blizzard games. And then this upcoming cover, which is going to be going live in about a week and a half now, I think it's a really cool looking cover. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm excited for everyone to see that.
I thought I have it somewhere. I can't find it.
It's okay, Eric. I get it. You're not a good friend.
No, I'm not a good friend at all.
He hates you.
He's looking at our most recent issue, plus the one that I sent you out of the kindness of my heart. I see that, the BioShock one.
The one I'm holding right here in my hand, for those who can't see this, because that would be everybody, is Diablo 4. Which
yeah, so I talked about that while you had your headphones off and wandering aimlessly through your studio looking for the issue.
Well, I wasn't going to go
about.
deep in it. I was just going to say the trailer, when that got released from, I forgot whatever convention was not too long ago.
It was BlizzCon.
BlizzCon really excited me. Like, I haven't been that excited for PC games in a long time, and I remember playing the original Diablo. God, I don't know how long that game came out. 20 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Because it was Diablo I used to play, Heretic, and something else. It was all the games that people in college that were that had. I just burnt their copies and started playing.
Wow, I was going to guess 1998 for Diablo 1, but it was actually 96.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I was in college at that time.
Wow.
And I haven't played Diablo since. But when I saw the trailer for 4 and how messed up it was, and the whole thing was just like a creepy movie, I said, I think I actually want to get this game and play it.
Nobody does cinematics like Blizzard does.
It made me want to watch that movie. I was like, can this be a movie? Because I want to keep watching this.
I wish that Blizzard would make a movie. Like, I'm a huge Overwatch fan, so when they did the big reveal for Overwatch 2, I was losing my mind watching that cinematic. It was like this 9 or 10 minute cinematic of like all the characters, and it was so great. And like, I wish that they would just make a full feature length Overwatch movie.
My husband and I have been talking about that for a while. Every time those come out, we're watching the trailers. We're like, dude, they just need to make a movie, because I would go watch that. They can never seem to quite make a good video game movie. That being said, though, I enjoyed Warcraft. I did, but it didn't do that well.
I think because the studios that take, it's like, I compare it to when they used to try to make comic book movies, and a lot of them were kind of hokey and they didn't come out too good. Like, there was exceptions, Blade, Tim Burton's Batman movies, but when you had Spawn and you had a couple other ones that came out, and you were just like, they're missing the mark. You're not getting the feel, because these were not fans or people who understood these properties and these franchises, and they were just saying, oh, let's take it and make a movie. Same thing with the video game stuff. Like, I did enjoy, I think the Resident Evil movies were okay. They made too many of them.
In particular.
Yeah, they made too many of them.
The first one.
And I loved Silent Hill, even though I know a lot of people didn't. I loved the game, and I actually liked the movie. But then when you had Doom with The Rock came out, and you're like, they just went so cartoony and trying to make it feel like if you were in the game. And if you're watching the movie, you don't want to watch it like you're in the game.
I will say that they got a lot of crap, but I would say that Assassin's Creed and Tomb Raider, the most recent Tomb Raider, were underrated.
Okay.
I think they were among the two. Like, they were two of the best video game movies we've ever had, because they were just. I mean, they were unremarkable. So they didn't get a whole lot of love, but like they were good, as opposed to most video game movies, which are actively horrible.
Yeah, they are really
Detective
bad.
Pikachu was actually pretty fun as well.
I enjoyed
I did like
that.
that a lot. Yeah, that was good. I mean, I feel like anything that's not true. I was gonna say, I feel like anything Ryan Reynolds does is pretty good. Remember it back to his first Deadpool that they made him do that was just fucking awful. Just
But that wasn't
kidding.
his fault.
That was not his fault. When he got
When
his
he was
actual
in
hands
X-Men
on
Origins.
Deadpool. Yes, it was so awful.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But that was I mean, he
that was
actively
not his
campaigned
fault.
against that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
not his fault, and that was their. I don't know what was happening at that time because that was the third of the original X-Men franchise before they did the time jump to go back to a younger cast and what have you. That one, I don't know if they were just messing with Fox or there was something going on, but that movie just shit the bed because even the Dark Phoenix thing at the end, you see her going through the under the water. I'm like, oh, that's the tease, knowing full well they were never going to make that. So what was
they
the
did.
point?
They made it twice.
In a different timeline.
Yeah.
No, they made it again. They made X-Men 3. That was the Dark Phoenix, the first Dark Phoenix movie, and then they did it again with this year's Dark Phoenix.
No. That I know, but
Those don't exist.
did I have it wrong? Where was it? The second movie where they showed the scene under the water, and you see.
So the second one, she died at the end of it. Jean died at the end of it, and it teased Phoenix in the water.
Oh,
and then
I had it confused. Okay.
X-Men 3 was she came back and like
she had the black
was
eye.
Phoenix.
She had like the X-Files oil eyes.
Yeah.
She was doing all
really
that.
bad.
Yeah.
And it was so bad, which sucks because I love the Dark Phoenix arc. It's just like
so good.
the I would say that this year, or was it this year or last year, whatever, the new Dark Phoenix was substantially better than X-Men 3, but it still wasn't very good.
I went and
Well,
saw
they
the
just-
theater. There was 8 people in the theater with me when we went to watch it. It was not good.
It was perfectly okay,
Yeah.
which is not. I mean, when you compare it to like a Marvel Studios movie, that's just unacceptable at this point. In 2019, when you have Endgame coming out a couple months before.
Right. Well, that was just because, and that movie took forever. They did so many reshoots. It was testing poorly for so long that it took like a year of reshoots just to do new stuff for it. And then they like, look, the deal's almost done with Disney. We got to just push it out there because of our obligations.
And it sucks because they've tried that storyline twice now to no avail. So now that Marvel Studios is going to be in charge of the X-Men franchise, I'm worried they're going to be like, oh, well, we've already done that twice. Kind of like they are with Spider-Man. They're like, oh, we don't want to do Green Goblin because they've already done that. We don't want to do like Mary Jane because we've already done that. I'm worried that they're going to get the X-Men stuff and be like, oh, we don't want to ever try Dark Phoenix because that's already been done.
I think they will. Hold on. I think they will. But look at it this way. Dark Phoenix could be an Endgame style event because she goes supernova, like she's too powerful.
Yeah.
That could be an X-Men buildup. Like maybe that's the third one, like an Avengers
great, but I just
crossover.
worry that they're going to think that it's been there, done that.
No, I don't think it's been there, done that. I just think it's not going to be a solo X-Men storyline. I think because it's too powerful that they're going to make that a crossover thing. Maybe that's like an Avenger kind of crossover or something where she's too powerful that everybody's got to come in and stop this thing. See what I'm saying?
Nice.
It's not like
I would love it if they actually like did justice to the character of Phoenix.
She's not mid-level boss level. She's an end boss before going into another phase. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I like that.
I think that's what they will do. I think that's where they'll go with it because they're like, exactly like you said, we did this twice, or they did this twice. It didn't work. How are we going to incorporate it? It's too big a story in X-Men lore to ignore, right? But they could say, well, let's vamp this up. It doesn't just have to be them. This could be leading to her, and then it's too big that they even can't handle it. They got to get everybody else a part of it because they're not going 100% by the comic books anymore. I mean, they will to start off Fantastic Four and X-Men and what have you, but then eventually they go, okay, we got enough stuff to pull from. We can make this our own. She'll probably be a big baddie crossover kind of movie.
I mean, Scarlet Witch would undoubtedly be a part of some of this because of like the House of X stuff.
Nope, leaving her out.
No?
I don't know. I'm just throwing that in there.
I mean, yeah. I still want to see House of M adapted into a movie. I would really like to see that storyline, and I think that'd be kind of a cool
House
way
of
to
M,
introduce...
that's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
I said House of X because of the current,
the current run. That's what I thought you were talking about. But yeah, that would be a really cool way to bring in the X-Men. I still think that the best iteration that we've had of Dark Phoenix is from the 90s X-Men animated cartoon. They did a great, I think it was 4 or 5 parts, and it was actually really good. It wasn't exactly from the comics either.
That's on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, it is.
The whole series on the.
I've been meaning to watch that. After I get caught up on Mandalorian, I'm gonna.
I never watched that in the
series.
90s. I should have.
What?
Yeah, I know. I should have, but I didn't.
So good.
That's what
and you'll never get the theme song out of your head.
Da-na-na-na-na-na. Supposedly they
It's
ripped that
DMX.
off from like some Bulgarian fucking like cop show. They had some lawsuit against them for that because of it. And if you actually find that weird, I think it's Bulgarian cop show from the 80s, it actually does sound almost exact. It's really weird.
I guess I need to find that.
I thought they were just going to recut the DMX song where he goes, X-Men, it's going to give it to you, X-Men, it's going to give it to you.
I would actually love that if we got a version of that. Cause
I would
still
love
like
that. Really
song.
poor editing.
Oh my god, if they break that out for the first X-Men movie.
Amazing. Amen.
Oh god.
But yeah,
fun
we need
stuff
a
to
good
look
version
forward
of
to.
that, and we need a good fucking Fantastic Four.
Well, if you're around
Yes.
Thanksgiving and you're not doing your shopping, if you have Disney Plus, go over and check out the X-Men 90s animated series. It's been approved by Brian and Zia, so you know it's good. But if you are going out,
Doctor Doom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
yes, well, that's
Yes.
coming. I think he's the next big bad.
I'd love that.
It has to be.
Sorry, I keep sidetracking you as you try to segue into why
No,
we're
it's all right. I mean, is it? I'll talk with this forever if you want. Like, screw the shopping. Then you're on your own, kids. We're doing this. So after Thanos is gone, like that had a huge arc to build up to. So Doctor Doom's got to be in it at some point because now that they fixed the Spider-Man mishap that was happening with rights
God.
and all that. But then you got Galactus, which is coming in.
Galactus is who I was thinking would be the next big bad and want to see as the next big bad.
Dr.
I saw some theory that like Thanos using the stones twice would create Galactus or something like
Possible.
that. So
But
I'd be into it.
you got
yeah.
you got
You'd have to introduce the Silver Surfer for that.
That's what I was actually
Yes.
saying. You got Fantastic Four, which will eventually lead to Silver Surfer. My thing is this: they're not going to bring everyone's. I saw online a lot of people were like, "Oh, that they're going to do Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer." It's like, no, they're going to let these people establish their thing, and then maybe Silver Surfer is like the mid or end cutscene of the credits. Like this is how I'm. So they do the Fantastic Four introduction movie, right? They do the credit stuff at the end. Maybe there's just something where you just see like the city and it kind of pulls up and then over the earth and it pulls back a little bit. And then you don't even see Silver Surfer because they don't have to cast it yet. They can do animation where you just kind of see like the feet and the surfboard hovering and then black. So you know,
or you just see a streak across the sky.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want the future to be now.
It's weird, right? Because we're in the middle of like this lull after like just this climactic end to this phase. It's
Right.
like, all right, now we have to wait until the Black Widow movie early next year,
I think
Which I'm not even that pumped about, to be honest with you.
I'm excited for it just because I like Black Widow so much as a character,
Yeah,
and like I
but-
like that Taskmaster is the big bad.
yeah,
in
and
that
I want to
movie.
see it's Omega Red 2, right? Or no, Red Guardian.
I think they're both in that. Which Taskmaster has the potential. I know this is a prequel movie, but like he has the potential to come back. I think as long as he's not killed in this movie,
Yeah.
because like he could like he's such like a student of the enemy or the Avengers that he could potentially help the other like bad guys train in their style and like get better at fighting the Avengers. So I think that could be a big thing. I also think that we haven't seen the last of Ultron. I think that Ultron comes back at some point.
Okay.
I thought they
Just
destroyed
because-
Ultron.
What?
I thought he was fully destroyed.
He was, but in Spider-Man Homecoming, they have one of like the Ultron robots. Like they have like the parts of the Ultron
Oh,
robot,
okay.
like the scavenger group. Vulture's scavenger group. They have
Yeah.
like an Ultron robot in their thing, like when they were going through it. So like the rule for Ultron is like as long as he is not destroyed, like as long as there is something remaining, there's always a piece of him out there and the capability to build back up. So
I mean-
I'm banking on at some point he comes back, but who knows?
They may not
They
need
did
him
put
at
him
this
in
point.
damage control.
They did.
Yeah.
The
They may
VR
not
game?
need him at this
Yeah.
point. There's too many other properties now that they can play with and intersect. Like he might just be like, that doesn't really make sense to bring him back anymore, unless he's just his own movie again, like not part of an interconnecting like storyline. If they just make him a self-contained story, then maybe bring him back. But
I wouldn't mind that at all. Like I mean,
you
and
don't
it's
have the full
interesting
Avengers
now,
back, so
given like the different makeup of the Avengers, you know.
right.
Yeah.
But, I think that WandaVision is going to give us a lot of hints for what the future of the MCU holds. I think that WandaVision will eventually lead directly into like the X-Men and Fantastic Four coming over.
It's supposed to. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It's supposed to lead. Sorry, I keep going into House of M because I want to see that. WandaVision is supposed to lead directly into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but we don't know what's going to come after that. So that's actually a good.
Yeah, that opens a ton of opportunities. Like with the actual multiverse instead of the multiverse that we saw in
fake multiverse. Bullshit. Everybody's like the multiverse. Turns out it's fake.
I'm actually not a fan of multiverse stuff, just because it gives you a MacGuffin for anything. Just like the
hey, language. I hope the Doctor Strange movie. It has, since they're allowing some R-rated movies like Blade will be R. They said Deadpool 3 is going to be an R-rated movie. I would
love the DC movies now that Joker was a success. Did you see that today? They announced that like Birds of Prey is going to be R-rated and
I don't care
what's the
about
other one?
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad 2. Yes, I'm hyped about that.
Is it 2 or
no,
is it
it's not.
I've heard
it's called
things.
No, it's called The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but is it like a reboot or a sequel? Because I've heard it's like a reboot. It's sort of some of the same cast.
It's sort of both.
God, that sucks.
Interesting.
I hate that so much.
Yeah. James Gunn is just getting it done and then hopping back over to Disney.
This is why. So I own Blu-rays for very few things, but I own it for like all the Star Wars movies. I own it for all the Marvel movies. I own it for like the Rocky movies. Like any franchise that I care about, I buy physical Blu-rays or 4K. Otherwise, I go straight digital if I'm going to buy a movie. However, I had, for the longest time, up till Justice League, I had all of the DCEU movies. But then they started like with, this Joker standalone thing is going to like not be a part of this. And then like, Suicide Squad's going to be a reboot, so it's not a part of the same continuity, but it kind of is. And it's like, all right, screw you guys. I'm not buying this anymore. Like, it was a fun little thing to like own all of like this one continuity, but now it's like so confusing. I have no idea what's even going on with it.
Right.
It's because they're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with it, because they made so many bad movies, and then they're like, how do we fix this?
They did the exact opposite that Marvel did, where Marvel took its time. It took its time building up Iron Man. It took its time building up Hulk and Thor and Captain America, and then eventually you got to the Avengers. But no, they were like, all right, cool, let's build up Superman with Man of Steel, and then all of a sudden, Batman vs Superman. It's like, and then also Wonder Woman and Doomsday and Lex Luthor. It's like, cool. That's exactly what we didn't want you to do.
And I legitimately did want a Flash standalone film, and this was supposed to happen, and then now it's not, and I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. But you're right, they could have spent more time building up the characters for Justice League and then giving us Justice League instead of just rushing through it.
The thing is they released Man of Steel at the same time that Marvel was doing Avengers. Yeah. Because they had to wrap up the Dark Knight trilogy first. And really their biggest mistake, I think, was not including, like, just not having the Dark Knight trilogy a part of that expanded universe. Like, in my headcanon, I consider that to be a prequel to Man of Steel. Because I'm also a total nerd when it comes to
You know why, though? Because, I mean,
I want it to be good.
Yeah, but none of this is realistic, right? But the Dark Knight trilogy, out of all of them, is the most realistic feeling, the realistic based, where it's like, this could actually happen without superpowers and all of that stuff. You know, the Batmobile didn't look slick. It looked like a military vehicle that was just recustomized to fit what he was doing. It seemed probable that in reality this could happen, other than Bane blowing up half a stadium. But, you know,
I was in that scene. Do you know that?
And you lived to tell it?
I live to tell the tale. Yeah, that's a thing I don't talk. My old podcast host at Game Informer tells me that's the story I don't tell often enough, is that I was actually an extra in the stadium scene in Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you see you?
No, I've actually looked multiple times. I don't know if it's possible to see me, or it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm in that like sea of people up there in the stands.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah, but I was there, and like all like the Steelers players. Actually, it was shot in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And then and I was living in Pittsburgh at the time, so I was like, hey, let's go be extras in Dark Knight Rises, whatever.
Yeah.
And we were like the first people to see Tom Hardy as Bane. Like, he was all tatted up and everything. They had to digitally alter that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was super cool. Like, we were like, I remember thinking, like,
people of Pittsburgh.
that can't possibly be the voice he's going with. That was what I thought was. That's what my thought was. And then like they cleaned it up because like even like coming over the loudspeaker, the intercom, it was like, this is unintelligible. There's no understanding what he's saying right now. And they cleaned it up a little bit for like the theatrical release, but like it was more indecipherable than it actually was in the movie.
Oh man, that's so cool that you got to be there for that.
Yeah, so I can officially say I was in a scene with Tom Hardy and I was directed by Christopher Nolan. So
yeah, you can.
That's kind of cool.
That.
You better update your IMDb.
I know, and I had sunburn on half of my face because it was a summer shoot and it was a winter scene. So I was in a pea coat because it was supposed to be winter, and then I was in a stadium sitting on the same spot for like 9 hours.
Were you sweating profusely?
Sweating profusely. Like in between takes, we could take off our jackets, but like as soon as they were like getting the cameras ready, we had to put our heavy winter coats back on.
Jesus.
And then since we're sitting on the same spot and the sun was kind of like going, it was always on our left side. So the left side of my face had a line straight down the middle of sunburn on the left end because it was like July or August.
That's
something
terrible.
Like that. It was awful, but like, yeah, I have all kinds of pictures. Like we weren't supposed to take pictures, but I took a couple, and then all throughout the city of Pittsburgh for like 2 months, it was like the Batmobile was driving up and down the street, and like Catwoman was riding the motorcycle up and down the street. Like they were shooting. There was like fake snow everywhere. And like the city that the building I worked in downtown Pittsburgh, they actually flew up and over. It's the giant black skyscraper that you see in like the big chase scene when he's in like the bat.
Why not just film it in winter?
Because that would be too much of a hassle.
I guess that's true. Yeah, you actually have to deal with real snow.
But yeah, there was so like I have a whole photo album on Facebook that I can share with you of like just stuff I saw around downtown Pittsburgh during those couple of months.
Are we Facebook friends?
Probably not. I just reactivated after not having it since January.
You should put it up on Instagram so people can check it out.
I could.
Brian P. Shea on Instagram.
Yeah. Look at Eric holding up the retro Game Informer cover. Ooh. Nobody listening to this can see it.
Yes.
However, I see it, and it's an old school, looks like a 1920s magazine cover.
Yep.
And it was in honor of BioShock Infinite.
I love that game.
Very cool.
Yeah, this was one of the greatest covers Game Informer's ever done.
Yeah, even the ads too, which are from the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have all the BioShock games, but I haven't been able to play them.
And then I have, Zelda's.
Oh, very nice.
For Breath of the Wild right here. All very cool. Anyway, let's talk about the games, because we have not done the games, and it's been 20 minutes since we said we're going to talk about the games. So.
Enough about not the games.
Hi. Black Friday is happening here. Holiday sales are going on, and Brian is here to tell you about what games you should be looking at and some of the deals that are going out, because Amazon has it, GameStop has their stuff, Best Buy, everybody's got different deals going on for different games.
Yeah.
So tell us what's going on.
So rather than going like store by store, so I'm going to kind of leverage a tool that a website called cheapassgamer.com uses, and they have a huge spreadsheet that goes store by store, game by game. The games are all alphabetical. It tells you what system it is, tells you where to find the best deal. So I'm kind of using their spreadsheet, and I'll tell you like games I would recommend, and it's like just kind of like the highlights. So a game that hit earlier this year, was it earlier this year, or I think it was, yeah, Anthem. Have you played Anthem?
I saw the trailers for it.
You shouldn't.
Oh no.
It was BioWare's latest game. So the company behind Mass Effect, the company behind Dragon Age.
Oh no.
It was their big push at like, think of like a Destiny style living game, but it's a third person like Iron Man style game where like you're flying around in like a power suit. It has all the makings of an awesome game. But it just has not been supported. It had so many problems with like its loot progression system. But there's a rumor on the street. Rumor has it BioWare is going to be reworking the game.
Oh boy.
For an early 2020 like relaunch. That was something that I think it was Kotaku reported, and it's $5 at certain stores. On Black Friday. So like, if you want to take a chance, right now it's not a game I can recommend. But if you're going to take a chance on a game for $5, and like BioWare is going to if they are in fact reworking this game and it's going to relaunch with like all kinds of new stuff. I mean, there are worse bets you can place $5 on. So I mean that again, it's a game I would not recommend playing right now. It's not like this is not a Christmas present game, but for $5 you could do a lot worse. I mean, that's less than a drink at Starbucks.
That's true. That's a good point.
I think that might be a sleeper bet. Like if you ever listen to like a sports podcast and a guy comes on and like tells you like, hey, this is like the sleeper pick if you're going to put down $20. I would say that is my sleeper pick.
This
for
is
Black
Smooth
Friday.
Jimmy's lock of the week.
Yeah. The lock of the week. Anthem for $5 on Black Friday.
And this is Brian's shoe-in. Puts down a giant boot of the week.
It's not for the immediate return. It's for the long-term investment that you're going for here.
Of $5.
$5. But again, like that's just rumors. We don't know if they're actually doing it.
What else we got?
Other games. So we were talking BioShock. There's the BioShock collection that looks like it's going to be $20 on Black Friday, which is a steal. You get BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite.
These are the reworked ones, games. 4 HD and everything.
Yeah, PS4 and Xbox One that's available. So
I have that. I love it.
Yeah, same.
And again, cheapassgamer.com is where I'm getting this kind of like collection of deals. I'm just telling you which ones I would recommend. Going alphabetically, Bloodborne. One of the best games on PS4. Looks like Best Buy is going to have that for $10.
Damn.
So if you didn't get it when it was free on PlayStation Plus, that is easily one of the best games on PlayStation. I don't even like From Software games like Dark Souls, but Bloodborne is incredible.
I've watched people play Dark Souls, and it looks like the most frustrating game in the world to play. Like, I don't know if I could ever actually play it. I would just end up throwing my controller across the fucking room.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
What is that?
Also,
Skyhook.
Eric has the what is that called? God, it's from BioShock Infinite.
Skyhook, isn't it?
Skyhook. That's what it's called. I keep wanting to call it a hook shot, but that's Zelda.
That's Zelda, yeah. Oh, you guys are making me want to play BioShock more.
Yeah,
BioShock,
you totally should.
awesome.
We actually had Eric has the Skyhook, which is like a weapon, but also like
it's an all-in-one weapon.
You can kind of not grind, but like zip line across things in BioShock Infinite. So we had our Extra Life stream in early November. We do that every single year to raise money for a local children's hospital in Minnesota. And one year we had a theme that was a murder mystery, where one of our editors got quote murdered. And every time we hit a donation milestone, we revealed like the next part of the murder mystery. And we had like clues of like who could have done it. And all the signs pointed towards it was like an editor at Game Informer. But eventually it came out that Ken Levine, the creator of the BioShock series, was the murderer. And he actually recorded a video for us. And the whole time he was talking about like how he did it, he was holding a Skyhook, just like the one Eric was holding just now, but it was just covered with like blood and different like chunks of meat.
He's waving it in the air, and they're like, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you pesky kids.
And then we auctioned off the one that he allegedly used for charity. So that was one of our finest moments, I think, for Extra Life.
That's pretty
That is
awesome.
very cool.
You completely reminded me of that. Ken Levine, great guy. So let's see, going down the list. Control, one of my favorite games of the year. It's creepy. It's done by Remedy Entertainment. I actually traveled to Helsinki, Finland to see the game for our cover story in February.
Nice.
And those guys are the team that did Quantum Break on Xbox One earlier this generation. They did Max Payne, the first two games. They did a ton of games. They did Control this year. It's easily one of the best games of the year. It looks like that is going to be on sale across several stores, but it looks like the best deal will be Target for $25.
Nice.
Wait, never mind. I'm looking at the wrong line on this spreadsheet. Wait, no, I'm not. No. I second guessed myself, much to my own dismay, because it is $25 at Target.
Don't doubt yourself, Brian. You got this.
I've got to get some confidence one of these
This
days.
game looks weird.
It is super weird. It's like it's all about like kind of like supernatural, paranatural, I think is the term they use. Just unexplainable events happening in the real world.
It's like a mix between that and then like Giddles and I like those dystopian games.
Mm-hmm.
You like Inside. You remember we talked about that game for the longest time.
I loved Inside.
Inside.
So good.
And then you had Limbo.
I played both those.
And then there was another one that was like an Inside ripoff called Black
the Fall? No. That was a different game.
Little Monsters?
We've talked about it on the show a long time ago.
Monsters, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, this looks like she's got the character here, the main character that you're playing has kind of like psychic abilities. And,
almost like some Jedi abilities where it's like you can move stuff with your mind, you can force push them, you can levitate eventually. It's one of my favorite games of the year, maybe my favorite game of the year.
That looks great. I might look at that.
Totally
$25
recommend
you
picking
said?
it up. What was that?
$25 you said?
Looks like according to Cheap Ass Gamer's collection of Black Friday deals, that looks like that's the price.
Okay. Not bad.
A game that a lot of people slept on this year was Far Cry New Dawn, and it looks like at a couple of different stores that is going to be $15. So basically that is a direct sequel to Far Cry 5, and it's post-apocalyptic. So there's just like craziness happening everywhere. There's like mutated animals, there's different warring factions.
No zombies, right? I'm tired of
No
zombies.
zombies.
Thank God.
But you have I like that they kind of embraced how over the top things have gotten with that series, because one of the new weapons is literally a saw launcher. Like you're shooting circular saws at people and just like slicing them in half, and then you can upgrade it so it's 3 circular saws, like shooting out kind of like an old school Contra gun.
That's amazing.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Watch some of that gameplay. Isn't it very pretty? Like
It's very vibrant.
Yeah,
It's not like,
they made it very colorful and.
So that's a fun thing for me too, because I actually flew out to Montreal about this time last year before the Game Awards when they had the official reveal for that game, and I got to see the game in action and talk to all the developers. And that was, at first I was like, oh, it's a post-apocalyptic Far Cry. This is going to be so boring. And then I saw it and I was like, that actually looks really, really good and like super fun. Like they just seemed like they said, screw it, we're just going to have fun with creating a game and not like worry about all the other stuff that like has held down other Far Cry games. So I'm all about that game. I think it's a sleeper hit this year. I don't think it got enough appreciation. Yeah, I think that's definitely one people should look into if they missed it when it came out, I think in February of this year.
Yeah, I definitely remember watching some of that gameplay. I think it was Alana that I was watching play that, and if I remember correctly,
Alana's awesome.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, she liked it. I think, but that was a while ago.
Who's Alana?
Alana Pierce. She is a streamer, influencer, YouTuber. She's yeah, she moved from Australia.
Mm-hmm. She's
worked
really
for
good.
IGN for a little bit.
Okay.
Now she works for Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, she's over at Funhouse. She does a lot of good stuff. She's funny. I like her.
They're
One
doing
of my
a lot
favorite people in the industry.
They're doing a lot more stuff now too. Rooster Teeth. I think they got their own streaming service coming, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought I saw something like that they have their own streaming thing coming.
They did a Arizona Circle sketch thing. I watched some of the videos. It's super weird. It's funny.
What else we got?
Let's see. Devil May Cry 5 is another one to look into. It looks like it's going to be anywhere between $15 and $20 on Black Friday. Something that, this is a re-release from the Wii U, but you don't see Nintendo games go on sale very often. And Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, one of the best platformers of the past 15 years, I would say. It's going to be $40 at a couple of different stores.
Do me a favor, as we're going through this, just let anybody know that if you're playing these games personally, let us know.
Yeah,
if you're
I've played all these games. I mean, all these games are personal recommendations.
Okay.
Did I say Assassin's Creed Odyssey earlier?
No.
I don't think think so.
$15. That is one of my favorite games from last year. The game I definitely put the most hours into last year. It wasn't my favorite just because we had Red Dead 2, we had Spider-Man, we had God of War last year. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey is an incredible game. It's my favorite Assassin's Creed game, I believe. It used to be Brotherhood or 2, but after a long time, I think Odyssey has finally dethroned it. There's incredible DLC for that game that came out this year. And it's just so much fun. It's set in ancient Greece. It's such a fun game. They improved so many of the combat mechanics after they kind of overhauled the series with Assassin's Creed Origins a few years ago. Assassin's Creed Odyssey really refined the formula and cannot recommend it enough. That's going to be $15.
Not bad.
And speaking of games that I just poured a ton of time into, Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the best games of this generation, is going to be $10, the complete edition.
Holy shit.
And that is with all the DLC. That game is just unbelievable. One of the best games on PS4, one of the best games of the generation. Sorry, I'm just kind of running down a list, it feels like. But I'm just literally looking at this spreadsheet that the fine folks at Cheap Ass Gamer put together. And they've done such a good job compiling like all the various deals and just trying to give my recommendations here. God of War looks like it's going to be $10, which was Game Informer's Game of the Year last year.
Damn.
Just an unbelievable PS4 title. Great soft reboot, I guess. He's not in. He's moved on to Norse mythology now instead of Greek mythology. So it's definitely a more mature story. It's a more modern gameplay experience. Let's see, what else do we have here? Any of these catching your eye, Eric, in terms of ones I've mentioned? Are you going to be picking up any of these?
The Control one, after looking at the trailer, the Control one, I think I'm going to take a hard look at.
It's really, really good. It's super weird, but super satisfying, like as you get more and more powerful as the character Jessie Faden. She's just basically a normal person at the start. She just picks up a gun. And then from there, it just like she slowly accumulates all these powers as she explores.
Yeah, I like weird.
I
like dystopian and weird. I'm all.
This is one of the weirdest games you will play in a couple of years. I would say, like they really went for it. Like the Remedy has always like flirted and like embraced the like the Twin Peaks style of weirdness,
right?
But this is like the full on. I would say like the way I previewed this in the lead up to release for Game Informer was the ultimate realization of Remedy's vision, where it's like, all right, you can see the DNA from Max Payne, you can see it from Quantum Break, and you can see it from Alan Wake, which was another one of their big franchises. All of that kind of feeds into this game, and like you can see where they learned their lessons for this type of gameplay from those games, and really applied it. And I think that this is really them at their best.
I was scrolling ahead on the list here a little bit. Is the Mortal Kombat resurgence kind of done already? Like everyone was so excited for Mortal Kombat 11, and then it just seems to have dropped off. Like I don't hear anybody talking about it anymore.
I think it was a very good game when it came out earlier this year. They just didn't do a whole lot of like innovation. Like Mortal Kombat, the reboot, Mortal Kombat 9, a lot of people call it, but it was just called Mortal Kombat. And then the subsequent Mortal Kombat X, they both did a lot of like renovating to the formula.
Right.
Whereas Mortal Kombat 11 was just kind of like the best version of this formula. I think it's very good. It tells a very good story. I mean, it's $25 if you want to pick that up on Black Friday.
It doesn't look like it's. I mean, is it still full price? Is it still like in the 50s? That's why this is a good deal.
I'm not sure what it currently retails for.
Because I don't think this is a good. I think this is not that
it doesn't
far
seem like
off
the best deal, you know.
Yeah.
But like, if you scroll ahead to like something like Overwatch, one of my favorite games of all time, is going to be like $15. It looks like.
So you said Overwatch 2 is coming.
It is.
So it's not just like what they did with Fortnite, where they went to Chapter 2 and then. No,
but all of your stuff that you unlock on Overwatch 1 will be unlocked in Overwatch 2. So like if you unlock a really badass skin, it will unlock in Overwatch 2.
So you have to buy, if you're an Overwatch player and you finish up with 1, 2 comes out. You have to buy 2 in order to load that onto your thing, and then it incorporates what you did in 1 into 2.
However, you still get all the heroes that come out free of charge in Overwatch 1 or 2. So
Okay.
like if they're still releasing characters 2 years from now or 2 years after release from Overwatch 2, you still get that in Overwatch 1, but you don't get all the new skins and everything that are coming out because some of them are just going to be exclusive to Overwatch 2. You still get all the new maps, but you don't get the new modes.
Are they different? Like, I don't want to say worlds, but are they
They're gonna be
different
playing
servers
against each other? So same servers.
So you could be on Overwatch 2. You have the new skins, you have all this stuff, and still playing against people who are still doing Overwatch 1.
Yes, and they won't see the new skins, but you will as an Overwatch.
So if
2
you got
owner.
a new outfit or whatever, and you're out there doing it, what do they see if they can't see that? Then
I'm not sure.
Do they see
I don't know
just
if they've
the default?
gone to-
of
It
the
might just be
character?
like the default skin.
Yeah, that's weird.
If you don't have it.
That'd
Like,
be
you
so
don't have
great if
Overwatch
you're a
2.
dumb guy and you're playing the first one. And it's like, why is everybody back to basics here? Like this game's boring. It's like, no, they've moved on. They have cooler stuff. You just don't know it because you're not there. What about PC stuff? I mean, this is mostly console, and we'll finish up with some of your other suggested.
Here's
Because
the thing is that like Steam, I don't think has announced its sale. Which most people, when they're doing PC, they're buying digital, right?
Right.
Like most PCs these days don't even have a CD drive. So
Yeah.
I don't think Steam has announced its deals yet. There might be some pre-Black Friday sales going on right now.
I was
Let
just
me
saying
boot that
because
up.
recently they just released Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PC.
Yes, I don't know if that's going to be on sale this soon. Rockstar is not typically super fast about discounting their games. However, Red Dead 2 is going to be on sale for consoles, which I mean that was a year ago it came out.
Right.
It looks like it's going to be anywhere between $25 and $30 on consoles at a few different stores.
Got a coffee cup.
I don't think they've announced their Black Friday sale on Steam yet. There's an autumn sale going on. Actually, yeah, starting today. So, Gears of War 5 is not the name of that. Gears 5, they got rid of the of War, 50% off on Steam. It's the first time in a while that a Gears game has been on Steam. Microsoft has finally gotten over having all of their games exclusively on the Windows 10 store, and now they're moving them over to Steam. So that's a really good sale. That's a very good game that I think a lot of people overlooked. If you're a PC gamer, that seems like a really good pick, especially if you used to love the Gears of War games.
Right.
One game that's popping up on the dashboard for me, that's one of my favorite PC games, if you can even call it a generation. One of my favorite PC games of the last 10 years, Cities Skylines. Think like what SimCity should be in, I guess it was 2015 when it came out.
Okay.
2016 maybe. What that series should be in modern times. Cities Skylines is what that is. Right now on Steam, it's $7.50.
Shit. Steam has really good
$7.50.
sales.
It's mod friendly. It's so good. I highly recommend it. It's a game that I still fire up to this day, even though I reviewed it for us way back in 2015.
Well, this game came out 2015, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah, but it's $7.50, and then there are expansions you can buy for that as well. Like I think
this
there's one that
looks so
adds like snow and
watching the
Yeah,
planes
there's-
land in the airport as the trains are going by.
Yeah, and they came from the developer used to work on series called like Cities in Motion, and what that was like a transportation sim. So they took all the stuff they learned from the transportation sims and brought it into City Skylines. So you have to be really, really smart about how you build your roads and everything, because if you're not, the traffic actually behaves realistically. So like you'll cause really bad traffic jams if you're not smart about the way you design your streets.
What if I just did a 16-lane highway one way through the center of the city?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that's the smart way to do it.
Yeah. It all ends near a cliff. If you didn't get
Just
off the
drive
last
away
exit,
to
you're
the river.
stuck. Yeah. Oh, I could
Oh,
have
man,
fun with
so-
it.
Girl.
So you
The
could mess
GTA
around with
franchise
this.
is having a big sale.
Who?
The GTA franchise is having a big sale on Steam. $15 for GTA 5. Stories from Liberty City is $7, and San Andreas is $5.24.
Hey, move back
And
a
there's a
little
few
bit
others.
from your mic. Just a little bit, Brian. There you go.
I refuse. I'm going to talk like this the rest of the time.
I like it.
Speaking of like open world action games, Saints Row is also having a sale. So
I can't believe that's still around.
It isn't really. Like, they haven't had one since Saints Row 4, which was like 2012, 2013.
We had them come in 2005, 6, 7, somewhere in that. Yeah, we were still at XM. They came in to promote stuff, and I think one of them had Snoop Dogg in it, right? And they were promoting this purple dildo bat.
Yeah.
So they had these women in skimpy outfits going around doing promotional stuff. They showed up at the O&A show at XM with purple dildo bats for us. And we're looking at these and like, well, we're only just going to hit each other with these things. Other than that, what are we doing with them?
Sure. That's what you say, and then you take them home. That's
well, they disappeared. Somebody has them. It's not me. I would love to know where they went. I see it in the
background, Eric.
I would love to. Shut up. No, I would love to know where those went, but
the viewers can't see it, but
we can.
In through the portal.
But yeah,
out.
so like PC, the Steam sales are going on right now. And it's just so, I mean, there's tons of great stuff.
I think I'm
going
to get this City Skyline. The trailer's still running over there.
Dude, it's so good. And Shadow of War. So, like, I don't know if you ever played Shadow of Mordor, the Lord of the Rings game.
Yes, I did. I like it.
So Shadow of War is the sequel. It improves in every way imaginable, but it didn't get nearly the fanfare it should have, just because there was some microtransaction controversy early on. But they removed those completely. And now it's $12.50 on Steam.
I got it for free when I got my new Xbox One X. So
nice.
I still have both. I was like sick. Just finished this one. It's perfect time for this one. Great.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's really fun.
Anything
also,
before you get into some other stuff, I want to talk about some, I guess, more kid-friendly stuff for consoles. Are there new Pokemon games coming out for the holidays? Or
it just came out earlier this month. I don't know if it's on sale anywhere. It does not look like it's going to be on sale. Like I said, Nintendo's not super fast about discounting their games.
Right.
But maybe they'll surprise us and have a big sale somewhere with the Pokemon game.
Well, if it's not on sale, what are the new games? Because I know those do big, and if people
Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield.
Okay, so, there's two of them for the Switch?
Yeah, they're both for the Switch. The first time they've done an all-new RPG, all-new generation of monsters on a console. So you can play it up on the TV for the first time. I mean, they did Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee last year, but those were essentially remakes of like the first generation games from like the late 90s. But yeah, so I reviewed this for us. It's super fun. It takes a lot of the elements from the classic Pokemon games and adds a few new things. Like you can have your Pokemon in certain situations grow to like giant Pokemon and have like super powered moves. It's set in the Galar region, which is based on Great Britain. So there's a lot of like sports culture stuff. So like the trainers are treated like star athletes. Like they have trading cards you can trade with your friends. You can collect them from like the gym leaders. And then at the end of the game, you actually, instead of facing against the Elite Four, you're actually playing in a tournament to see who gets to battle the champion. Which is kind of cool. Like it just adds a little element, and like all the gym battles are taking place in a stadium full of people who cheer at every like attack that happens. So it really adds a great atmosphere to the game.
Well, I know Pokemon's really big for people, so.
And this one's exploding. Like there was a lot of negative press leading up to it, just because there are a lot of negative community reaction because there were some things that came out, like the animations were being reused from previous games, or certain a good chunk of Pokemon were not going to make it into the game. But at the end of the day, there's still hundreds of monsters. There's an open world area that you can explore that's just like different biomes, and you can catch like rare Pokemon all throughout it. And like there's different weather that affects which Pokemon show up. It almost feels like Breath of the Wild, where you're running around. You can control the camera, which sounds totally basic in 2019, but like for Pokemon, that's a big deal. Yeah, I highly recommend Pokemon Sword and Shield, especially if it's like somebody who's a fan of the series, somebody who may have like fallen off the series. It's a great re-entry point for that franchise as well.
All right. And there was another game. This is not going to be on your favorites, but I just want to point out. So Forza Horizon 4 is on sale.
That game is fun as hell.
Is that the one that I have? That's the one where it's in England?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one I have. I bought that on a whim. I bought it and returned it And I was like, I bought it. I was like, I'm never going to get to a return. And then I wound up a couple weeks later going back and buying it again. And I play. It's so much fun. Once you get the initial challenges and races stuff out of the way, when you can do like the freeform stuff and you're just driving through like English countryside and then all of a sudden you're in London, you're plowing through the city. It's a lot of fun.
It really is. Like, just the way they set you free in a region. Like, the Forza Horizon 3, I think I like a little bit better, actually. It takes place in Australia.
Yeah.
And you're building up... Like, the premise of the games is, like, you're building up festivals across the country.
Yep.
Like, these car festivals. And, like, you're doing it by... You're attracting fans by, like, winning races and... performing
Three's the one that
stuff.
has the thing where it's kind of like you can reverse it a little bit and fix your mistake.
I think they all have that at this point.
I don't think I was doing that in the fourth one.
I think it's an option.
I was getting like stuffy.
Most racing games have that.
I was getting stuffy British cars and then just trying to see how fast I could drive them without crashing into things.
Yeah, like there's like speed trap challenges where it's like, here's a straightaway with some minor curves. Like there's a radar right up ahead. See how bad you can set off that radar. So it's like, all right, I hit like 170 miles an hour in this Bugatti. And it's like, that's like the new record. So here, you get this experience point.
All right, throw a couple more at us before we got to get out of here.
All right, Witcher 3. Another one of the greatest games of all time. Looks like that's going to be between $15 and $20, depending on the store you go to. The complete edition, which comes with the DLC, which some of the DLC of The Witcher 3 is as big as a full game. So like I definitely think that that's like an incredible value. $20 is a steal. And speaking of games that are just so dense with content, Persona 5. If you like traditional JRPGs, Persona 5 is going to be $10 at a few different stores. One of the best JRPGs of all time, I would say. And I mean, I think it was 120 hours for me. So if you're paying $10 for that and you're getting 120 hours out of content, like that's insane value that you're getting there.
Just a reminder too, if you're a fan of the Witcher series, that the Witcher is coming out on Netflix right before Christmas. I think it's like the 20th or something, that Friday right before Christmas.
And it's starring Henry Cavill. We talked about Superman earlier.
Right.
Superman himself is
and he
Geralt.
doesn't have the mustache.
He doesn't. No, they don't
CGI
that out this time.
No.
Thank God.
Speaking of Nintendo games being on sale, we got 3 games here. 3 Mario games, of no less. Super Mario U Deluxe, which is a remake of Super Mario Brothers U on Wii U. It's moved over to Switch.
I thought they already had that out.
Yeah, it's going to be $40 though.
Oh, no.
And then Super Mario Odyssey, one of my favorite Mario games. Is going to be somewhere between $30 and $40, depending on the stores. It looks like the $30 ones are going to be Target and Walmart. So cannot recommend that enough. If you're a fan of Mario 64, Super Mario Odyssey feels like Mario 64 20 years.
Well, you can play. There's parts of Mario Odyssey where you can get the 64 skin.
Well, Eric, I wasn't going to spoil that for people.
It's been out for years. It's not spoiling anything. You can go into the castle and look up, and you still get the sky, like the clouds in the castle. You go into the castle on Princess Peach's world, and you're like, this is 64. Because that's a lot of people's favorite Mario game, and that the fact that they incorporated that into there. I had to put the game away finally about a month and a half ago, because I did all I could with it. I did the dark side and the darker side. I was like, all right. I guess I was done, and I was trying to see if I could get every moon, but it was just not meant to be. I finished about 800, I think, somewhere in the 800s.
Wow, that's better than I did.
So I was like, all right, I think I'm kind of done with this game. I can move on, and I did Mario Maker for a little bit, and then I finished that, and then I'm on the.
I love Mario Maker.
I'm on Luigi Mansion 3.
I really.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 is really good as well.
Yeah.
I think that's on sale somewhere. Nope, just kidding. Nintendo doesn't like to discount their games, but my favorite game of all time, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Whoa.
I have to start that. I've had that game
between $30 and $40, depending on the store. It looks like Target and Walmart are leading the charge on that one, but Nintendo does not like to discount their games, so that is one you should definitely look at. Like, if you have a Zelda fan, if you have a Switch owner, that is a surefire winner. Like, there's very few people I've met in my life that don't like that game. But if you're more of a PS4 guy, Uncharted 4 is going to be $10 at I think Best Buy. Yeah, totally recommend that. But you might benefit from playing the Uncharted trilogy, which is the Nathan Drake collection, which is also going to be $10 at Best Buy. So you can own the entire Nathan Drake collection, even though that's the 4 mainline Uncharted games for $20 total.
That's only PlayStation, right?
PS4 only, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
so I have
the first 3 Uncharted games are PS3, but yeah, PS4.
I have a PS4. I've never played it. It's hooked up, but I've never done anything with it, right?
And then PS5's coming out next year, Eric. What are you doing?
Well, I don't know. I should just give my PS4 to somebody because I've never used it. I have it here. It's just I even have the original box, everything. So I had the Uncharted collection, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I love watching the videos. Like, this looks a lot of fun. It feels very Indiana Jones-ish. I'm going to play this.
100% Indiana Jones.
Never opened the thing. And wound up giving it to Matt so he could play on his Twitch feed, which I don't think he's opened yet either. But
someone has it.
I passed. Yeah, it's the game is just sitting there unopened now in 2 different households.
Oh man, poor game.
I don't know what to do with the PS4. Maybe I should give it to somebody that can actually use it. Because
you know what?
Go ahead.
The best deal, like we're talking about all these deals, and it just hit me. I think the best deal that somebody could get somebody who's like a gamer, but they don't really know what they like.
Right.
But if they own an Xbox One, they should buy them Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
Is Game Pass good? I see a lot of the TV spots just ramped up, I think this week for the Game Pass. It's like they're doing what Spotify does. Like if you join now, it's only $1 for 3 months or something. And it's something ridiculously cheap. But I never really figured out Game Pass. Like, is it worth doing? Because if you want the good
games, it's by far the best value in gaming.
But you're not getting all the good new games, right? It's just
some of them you are. You get all the first-party Xbox games. So, like when Gears 5 comes out, when Halo Infinite comes out, you're getting all those games day one. And then
so it's essentially renting.
As long as you pay this, I mean, it's no different from Netflix. Like you can watch those movies as many times as you want, as long as you pay that monthly subscription fee.
Okay.
Or like Apple Music. Like as long as you pay that. Those are your songs. Those are your games. So yeah, it's Game Pass Ultimate. I believe it's $45 for every 3 months. Or if you want to go month by month, it's $15 a month. That comes with Game Pass, which gives you all the games, and Xbox Live Gold, which lets you play those games online. So that's Game Pass Ultimate. You can also buy them separately. I think it's definitely cheaper if you want to buy them separately. Cheaper individually if you just want one of them, but like you might as well have both. Like they're both. If you're going to do Game Pass, you should definitely have Xbox Live Gold, so you might as well do Game Pass Ultimate.
Okay, so it is worth getting.
Xbox has been expanding their portfolio. They've been forging partnerships with developers like The Outer Worlds, which is one of the biggest games of the year.
Giddles loves that game.
It was
really
day one on Game Pass because Microsoft now owns Obsidian, the studio that put that game out. Even though that game was in development before Microsoft bought it, so it was published by another company. But because Microsoft owns Obsidian now, that game was day one on Game Pass. So like I don't own that game, but I'm a subscriber to Game Pass, and that gives me that game for free now because of that. And like there's a bunch of indie games that come out for free there. Like there's an amazing game called Lonely Mountains Downhill, which is like literally a mountain biking game. Like think like, it's an isometric view. So like the mountain is like in front of you, and then you're just kind of going down these paths trying to make it to the next checkpoint, try to make it to the bottom of the mountain as a mountain biker. There's like treacherous cliffs.
Dying.
Yeah, without dying. And like it's so much fun. And that was on Game Pass for free. And it's like so many of these games I wouldn't even try because like, you have to it's an expensive venture to be into gaming because you have to spend anywhere from $15 to $60 to get a new game. So it's like, all right, well that game's out of my genre, but like my friends like it. Do I want to risk it?
I get it now. Okay, so it is worth doing.
So it's like,
I have to look at
it
then.
That game sounds interesting. I'm already paying the subscription service. Let me click download and see if I like it. And if you don't, you lost like 20 minutes of your time downloading it and starting it up, and you're like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm going to delete this and then try another game. And there's hundreds of games on there.
Now, because we're going to have to start wrapping up in a second with the Game Pass. So they're having this deal that's going on. I forget exactly, but it was something like for $1. I don't know if it was for the first month or for the first 3 months, but there's some really good deal that you see the TV ads all over the place for it. So you have the Xbox. That's open still to PC?
Yeah, so when you get it on Xbox One, you also get it on PC. So if you have a Windows 10 PC, you can also get free games on Windows as well. So like I got Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition for free on my Windows 10 PC because I have Game Pass on Xbox One. And like same thing, like there's a lot of things called Play Anywhere. So like Forza Horizon 4 that you mentioned earlier, I bought that on Xbox One last year, I guess, when it came out.
Right.
And I had a copy waiting for me on my PC. Like I just downloaded it. It was like, oh, you own this game on Xbox One, so you can download it and you can transfer your save over and all that stuff and play with I could play on my PC with my Xbox One friends. So like Microsoft has done a lot of really cool stuff in that regard. I don't know if this trick still works. This is the trick that I did. And it's a little tip for anyone who's interested in this. If you have Xbox Live Gold, which is the cheaper thing, and you buy Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, it converts, for that $1 deal that you're talking about, it converts all of your pre-existing Xbox Live Gold months over to Game Pass Ultimate for free. Like if you pay that $1 to like the 3 months, this is the way it used to work. I don't know if it's the way it still works. So what I did was I renewed my Xbox Gold for 2 more years. Paid that like up front. It was like $120 for those 2 years. And then I paid the $1 and it converted all of those years to Game Pass Ultimate.
Wow.
So now I have that
good.
for like 2.5 years.
And it doesn't cost you anything extra. That's amazing.
It doesn't cost me anything extra. I just pay, $120 to get the Xbox Live Gold for those 2 additional years, and then $1 extra to convert them all to Game Pass.
Final thing with the Game Pass. Are they still available? Remember a while ago with the Fortnite deal that it was available to Switch? Is it still available or no?
So, Game Pass, you mean?
Yeah.
So it never really officially came to Switch. Just certain games from Xbox Live or Xbox One's ecosystem came to Switch, like Cuphead and like Ori and the Blind Forest came over. But those were kind of like, I actually was in London a couple weeks ago for XO19, which is like the big Xbox fan fest.
Right.
And while I was out there, I spoke with the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, and I asked him specifically about that. And he said those were more kind of like standalone like situations. It wasn't like a trend necessarily. It was more of like, this was something that made sense for this particular game, like Cuphead. They thought that, hey, this would have a good audience on Switch. Like this is a genre that would do well on Switch. Or Ori and the Blind Forest, that's inspired by like the Super Metroid game. So that would obviously have a good audience on Switch. So they looked at situations like that and said, let's bring those games over because we think they would thrive on the Switch. That said, I don't think it would be out of the question to see other games come over. Like he said that like it would not be out of the question to see like if an Xbox game comes over, he wants all of the features of that Xbox One game to still connect to Xbox Live. Like that's why if I play Cuphead on Switch, it says I can still like get achievements even though I'm playing on Switch. I can get Xbox Live achievements even though I'm playing on Switch. Same thing with Ori. And Microsoft, here's what I think is going to happen. I've asked them this and they will not give me a straight answer on it. I asked, so they have a new, like, you know how Stadia just came out, like Google Stadia, their game streaming service.
Not a lot of confidence in that.
What was that?
Not a lot of confidence in that.
No, not a lot. But Microsoft has its own game streaming service coming out. They're currently in testing on Android called Project xCloud. It's going to have a different name going forward once it goes public. But it allows you to stream games that you already own over the cloud on different devices. So you can play it on your Android device. You can play it on your iOS device once that goes live. You can play it on your PC. So like if I own a game on Xbox Live or Xbox One, I can play it on my PC or my iPhone. I can attach they actually sell like stands you attach to your Xbox One controller and you can play it on your iPhone. It's meant to be like a thing of convenience. But they want to get that on as many devices as possible. So there's a chance. My theory is it's going to start appearing on Switch, Project xCloud, and you're going to be able to play all of your Xbox One games on your Switch if you use their app. That's my theory because they have that.
That would be something.
because here's the thing: the Switch is nowhere near as powerful as an Xbox One or Project Scarlet, which is the Xbox that's coming out next year. However, to stream a game, you have much lower requirements. That's why your iPhone can stream and play Gears 5 on that when using the xCloud technology. So I think whenever xCloud launches, they're going to put a Switch app out, and you're going to be able to play your Xbox One games or Project Scarlet games on Switch using that technology. Just a theory.
That's a great theory, and that would be something if that does come to fruition. We do have to get out of here, Brian. Is there one more thing that you want to point out there for a sale? What's the last one you want to throw out there for people to go check out?
One more. I already talked about Game Pass, which again, like I was such a skeptic of that when I first heard of it. I was like, yeah, I just want to own my games, but I mean that it turned me into a believer with that $1 deal, and I cannot shut up about it, as you may have noticed. Resident Evil 2. I don't know if you saw this. They remade Resident Evil 2 earlier this year. I think it came out in February or maybe late January, and people absolutely love it. It's modernized, but it also plays it pretty faithful to the original. And that is looking like it's going to be between $14 and $20. And I think it's probably in the running for Game of the Year for a lot of people. So if you missed out on Resident Evil 2 and you want to play a modern version of that, or better yet, you played Resident Evil 2 and you loved it and you'd love to revisit that, I mean, that you can't go wrong with that.
All right.
That's a super great one. Also, just on a personal note, I saw when I was scrolling through the thing, again, I want to give a shout out to cheapassgamer.com for putting together this amazing spreadsheet. You can find it on their website. Final Fantasy X, one of my favorite games of all time, finally came to Switch, so you can have a portable version of this and not have to carry around your Vita for this specific purpose. $25 to one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and its direct sequel, which wasn't as good, but still pretty cool.
I've never played Final Fantasy anything ever.
Nope,
I would recommend.
either.
I mean, I think 10 is a good place to start. It's the kind of the start of like the modern Final Fantasies. If you like turn-based RPGs, I think it's my favorite turn-based RPG combat system of all time. Fun story to follow along with, even if it's batshit insane. Don't get me wrong, but it's fun all the way through.
All right, maybe I'll have to venture into that as well, because
hell yeah,
I should be buying games and stuff for other people for the holidays, and apparently I'm like, nope, there's like 4 things here I'm buying for myself. Not doing anything.
Just so we don't come across as total. I mean, we talked about Game Pass and Forza Horizon. If you want a little balance in your life and you want a PS4 racing game, GT Sport, Gran Turismo Sport, was a game that launched a couple years ago and wasn't very good at launch, but they have done a phenomenal job updating that and making it one of the better racing games on the market. And it looks like it's going to be $10 at both GameStop and Meijer.
I don't know what Meijer is.
I don't know either. I think it's a West Coast chain.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Okay, maybe it's just my
I've never
imagination.
seen it.
Maybe they just made it up, and they said like, let's
Just
see
a
if
shadow realm.
Let's make ridiculous prices and see if anyone calls us on this. Maybe they're that vindictive. All right. With that, we have to get out of here. So let's go around and do the plugs. Zia, what do you have?
Twitter and Instagram at Zia_land. It's XIA. I'm also doing the Mandalorian After Show on AfterBuzz TV over on YouTube. It's such a good show. So if you want to watch it and then geek out over it afterwards, come check out the After Show.
All right. For Giddles, he's Giddlebase across the board on social media and on Xbox Live. So if you want to play any of these games or buy Giddles the Game Pass, if you want to do that.
Gift him it out of the blue.
Yeah, gift it to him out of the blue. He could really use that. I think he
Merry Christmas, Giddles.
I think he would enjoy that. Gittlebase, GITTLEBASS. Our guest, Mr. Brian Shea from Game Informer magazine, senior digital editor. Just went through all of this stuff with you, and there's a lot of great stuff for you to go out.
Yeah, my mouth is very dry from talking. I'm sorry.
Well, it happens in this business. Tell us the plugs. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Brian P. Shea. That is SHEA as the last name. And you can find us on Twitter, Game Informer, and Facebook at Game Informer, and then Instagram, which is we have a lot of fun with, Game Informer Magazine, because some random dude with like no followers has Game Informer. So we're Game Informer Magazine on Instagram, and then also GameInformer.com and Game Informer Magazine if you want to subscribe to that, and you can get digital or print, and super fun.
Awesome. For me, it's E-Rock Radio across the board on social media, but more importantly, the program. It's Eric Nagel across the board on the social medias. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Oh, by the way, somebody was asking me about the YouTube show. They're like, well, why should I have to do the feed if I can just do the YouTube? That's fine. You can do that as well. But the YouTube version has stuff cut out of it that's not on the radio feed. So you have extra stuff on the radio feed that you don't have on the YouTube version. So that would be why, if you want to subscribe. We're free on all the other platforms: iHeart, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcast. We just found out a while ago, and I got it confirmed now, that we're on Pandora. They picked us up, and they're carrying us, and that's kind of ironic. So I said, oh, is SiriusXM next? What's going on here? So we're on Pandora. So if you're a Pandora user, you can find us there. Just type in It's Eric Nagel. Phone line is 651-SMITHERS if you want to leave us a voicemail to be used on future shows. 651-764-8437. So with that being said, until the next time, everybody,
be excellent to each other
and have a wonderful time. We'll be seeing you.
It's Eric Nagel.
I can't think of the finish. That's strange, and I can't think of anything else.
Alas, we're out of time.
Follow It's Eric Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For ways to listen to the show, go to itsericnagel.com. And remember to tell 2 friends so they can tell 2 friends.
And they can tell 2 friends. And they can tell 2 friends. And those 2 friends can tell 2 friends.